Hey Explorers, today we're doing a gear report on the SOL Emergency Bivvy. Alright, so here it is, the SOL Emergency Bivvy that, if you saw our other video, we used. Now we're going to review it for you guys.
So this bivvy unpacks to a very large bag. I'm like 5'5", it's touching the ground right now, so I'd say it's about 6 feet tall, 80 inches.
It can even go higher.
Yeah. So it's made of Mylar. The inside is highly reflective, so even if you just had a little tiny light in there, it lights up the entire thing. So it's $18 on Amazon, and it goes into that little tiny stuff sack you saw.
And here's the width. So you see my shoulders. Here's the width.
Pretty big. Pretty big. We actually managed to fit both of us in here at the same time, which was...
Pretty cool.
It was a little tight, but it's
Definitely.
possible in an emergency, which is what this is designed for.
Yes. One thing... Where'd it go? There it is. It did stretch out a bit. I'm gonna go closer so you can see. Stretched out a bit. It's not ripped. But it did stretch out right there. You can see.
Yeah. And with products like this, if they ever rip, you can just repair with duct tape. On their website, it actually tells you if there are rips to repair with duct tape, which is pretty cool.
Yes. They know their audience.
Yeah, so we're in the middle of winter in January in Vermont, so we decided we'd test this out as it is an emergency bivvy to see if we'd be able to use this alone as a sleeping bag, because this weighs less than a pound, and this would be absolutely phenomenal if we could use it as a sleeping bag.
Yeah, just traveling wherever we want to travel. It's pretty great to use something so light
And small and compact that you can fit in your bag, but unfortunately this did seriously disappoint.
Yeah.
It was 9 degrees, which I realize is a bit of a stretch even for an emergency bag, but this hardly even acted as a windbreak. When we stopped hiking, we pitched camp, and we got inside the bivvy, and initially for like maybe the first 5 minutes we were warm.
Yes, because we got into the tent. We were cold. Our feet were a little wet. My boots that I was wearing weren't waterproof, so there was some wetness that got in. And so, took off the boots, the socks, put on new socks, and went in there. And I was warm within seconds. I definitely was. But it did not stay. It didn't keep the warmth. And again, even you can see that tiny part that is stretched. That did nothing, because it's not ripped, and even if it did do something, that wouldn't make it as bad as it actually was while we were trying to sleep.
Yeah, and this is, you can see the black tape that's put on in the factory. This is really just 2 survival blankets put together. I've tested dozens and dozens of survival blankets. I've never been successful with one. I really had very high hopes for this, and I'm disappointed. I'm convinced that survival blankets are really just a myth that people put in.
Want to believe?
Yeah, they want to believe it because it's cheap and it's a
Like,
end-all solution, and most people never end up testing them because they're for emergencies. Well, we've tested them and they do not work, unfortunately.
well, at least in the temperatures that we've seen here in Vermont. Maybe if you're down more New Jersey, where it doesn't get to 9 degrees, or even a little lower, kind of in that area, 9 degrees was too much for this to handle. We obviously didn't test it out at 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 40 degrees. It might work at those temperatures, so you can all feel free to try that out. Maybe eventually we'll try that out too, but definitely not for temperatures up in Vermont that get down to 9 degrees and sometimes even worse.
Yeah. Something interesting about this that's I've never actually seen in a different survival bivvy or survival blanket. The company SOL, which stands for Survive Outdoors Longer instead of something else, actually says that if you put this outside of your sleeping bag, then you can increase the temperature rating of your bag by 15 degrees. So if you have a 0 degree bag and you put this outside of your bag rating will go down to batteries, which is quite impressive, but honestly, I don't believe it.
Yeah, and we're looking into a bunch of, obviously lighter survival sleeping bags. So we'll get to you guys in that too. And you know what? We'll try that out for you as well. So we'll go into the sleeping bags and we'll put this around it and we'll let you guys know how that goes. But we don't have those sleeping bags yet, so we can't do that. But that is something he has already said he doesn't believe it. I'm not too sure if I believe it either. Again, like, immediately, yeah, I was warm, but I was not consistently warm. My toes got so cold to the point where I really thought that I wasn't going to be able to move them again.
Yeah, and this, the reason we bought this was because it had such good reviews on Amazon. I think it was 5 stars on Amazon, and
Yes.
for the price, that's phenomenal. But really, I feel like it's advertised wrong. This should be advertised as an emergency windbreak because that's all it really did for us. And if you're worried about our test having thermal bridging as a variable, we were on top of Thermarest sleeping pads, which actually have an R value of their own, so there was no thermal bridging going on. We weren't laying on top of snow. The temperature was neutral where we were laying on top of, and so there was no contact heat loss. This was just our own heat being reflected in here. And something to be wary of if you do plan on using a survival blanket or an emergency bivvy like this, Mylar does not allow water to pass through it at all. So that means if you have your face in here and you sleep, then you're going to wake up and you're going to be soaking wet because all of the water that comes out of your mouth and your nose while you're sleeping and breathing and talking, whatever, it's going to get trapped in here. And then if you plan on packing out the next day, it's just going to be a stinky, wet mess the next time you unpack it, and it's going to suck. So
Yeah.
emergencies only, really.
That did happen. We did not sleep on the mountain that we hiked to. That did happen. There was a lot of condensation, and before we were going to go to sleep, we were talking, and so I had to kind of move it away from my face. You touched it, it was cold water, so that was very annoying. And that's not exactly, I can't exactly count that against it, because, what else are you going to expect from this? We know that the water doesn't go through it, but that was just something that's really annoying and that people should know before getting this.
They also, they have quite a few different versions on the website. They had a thermal version, which is supposed to keep you even warmer than this, but it was a bit above our price range. So if anybody tests that out, please let us know.
Yeah, leave it in the comments.
Because hopefully that will be more helpful in saving your life than this will be. This is just really like wearing a little piece of aluminum foil around you. Didn't help.
Yeah, and we're still going to keep them and try them out with the sleeping bags as we aforementioned. But other than that, it did not work by itself in very cold temperatures, about 9 degrees.
Yeah, and another
Fahrenheit, just so everyone knows.
Another note that I'd like to say, just because it impressed me a little bit, you can hear that we're talking over this bag. This is much quieter than normal Mylar. ASMR. But really, it is significantly quieter, and like I remember trying to test out those other blankets, and I wasn't able to sleep just because when I rolled over, it was like somebody was shredding paper next to me. So that's something I really like about this. I also like how big it is and how small it's able to stuff.
Yeah, here's the other one that we have. It is very small.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, and it can even, when I rolled it up, it went a little off to the side, so it could even go a little bit further down, like if you rolled it up properly, So it is really cool and compact, and it's definitely going to help you if you have a sleeping bag, but not by itself. So please know that before you buy this. This will not help you by yourself. This is specifically the emergency SOL Bivvy, not the thermal one. I think there was one other one.
Yeah, they also sell a 2-person version, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Alright, well, thank you for watching. In an upcoming video, we're going to test out our new winter sleeping bags with these guys.
With and without.
And without. Especially without. We're looking very forward to that. They look super comfortable.
Yes.
Don't forget to support us on Patreon, because it's like viewers like you that support us on Patreon that we're able to make videos like this.
Thanks so much, guys. We look forward to seeing you in our next videos, and thank you so much for supporting us and sticking it with us.